Hi everyone, I'm Chitra Arki, first year MD student, NSS Training College, Ottapalam. So today I'll be presenting on the topic purposive sampling as it is a major non-probability sampling technique. Without further delay, we are getting into the topic with a cartoon. As you can see, there is a person with a lens. He's targeting a group of individuals, right? What is his criteria? Is it random? Yeah, he's saying something. He's saying, like, I need people who are, yes, he's like targeting on people who are undecided voters. Isn't it random? How is it? It is not at all random, as you can see, right? Yeah, so purposive sampling is a qualitative sampling technique, as I already mentioned. And we are moving on to the introductory part of the section. From the picture itself, as you can see, like from the crowd, there is one single person is picked out of the crowd, right? So it selects participants intentionally based on relevance. It is not at all random, and this purposive sampling means selecting participants who have required experience. Not at all the experience, they need knowledge or characteristics connected to the research. And it is totally different from the random sampling. As we can say, like, unlike random sampling, we do not select participants by chance, but still we are targeting on them and then we are picking up. And this method focuses on gathering deep, meaningful data rather than collecting information from people. Like, we are focusing on a particular group of people and not at all a random picking up, right? So, we are moving on to this particular cartoon. The characters you might be familiar with, the Chota Bean. He is just pointing out a person and he's saying what? Yeah, he's saying like selected based on purpose and relevance. It is not at all random. So you might be getting an overall idea about the purposive sampling. It is not at all random, but rather than that, it is based on purpose as well as relevance. And you can just dive deep into the meaning of purposive sampling where you can see like it is purposeful and planned. What does it mean, purposeful and planned? Mhm. The selection is purposeful and based on researchers' judgment. And again, we are repeating the same thing, which is not at all random. It is not at all random. And only those who can provide rich and accurate information about the research question are chosen, right? And the aim is to get reliable insights, not equal representation of all individuals. And chosen information like reach participants. It is not at all random. We are repeating that again and again. Now we are moving on to why it is purposive. What is the why it becomes as purposive? Why it is called as purposive sampling? So here from this cartoon image, as you can see as you can see, like the person putting the random picks in a waste basket. So it only focuses on quality of information, not the number of participants. He is just putting the torchlight and he is just picking out the chosen participants. So it is called purposely because participants are chosen with a specific purpose in mind. So if we need to get a particular information, we have some criteria, then we are selecting the samples and the researcher identifies who will best contribute to the study, right? Like who are the best person who can contribute to the study, and selection is entirely based on relevance, suitability and usefulness of the information. That all matters. We don't need random samples. We just need what we need. We need information, knowledgeable persons based on the criteria that we are selecting. Then we are moving on to the nature of purposive sampling. As I put three images and you can clearly see what are the nature. It is non-probable. Yeah, as we can say that purposive sampling is part of non-probability sampling, which means not everyone has an equal chance to participate, and the researcher plays a major role in deciding who should be included. Like I can decide, if I'm the researcher, I can decide what, who are the participants, who can just like, who are my samples, who can provide the information. And then we can see the sample is targeted, specific, and often small in number. The samples that we are not really selecting on random people, so that our samples are targeted. And can you say that what is the actual purpose of purposive sampling? What is the actual purpose? Yes, actually, the main purpose is to get deep, detailed, and insightful data. So the data should be insightful and detailed. And what kind of purpose is that? Actually, it helps the researcher to understand like a concept of phenomenon in depth. And also it focuses on quality of responses, not number of respondents. Right? We need the quality. So we are not focusing on random. I'm just repeating that again and again. Now we got the types of purposive sampling. There are many types of purposive sampling, as you can see from this chart itself. Like I just mentioned 7 of them. Yeah. So purposive sampling can be like, there are different types. As I mentioned, homogeneous sampling is the extreme case sampling, is the snowball sampling. Then we got critical case sampling. Then we got maximum variation. Then homogeneous, as I already mentioned. Then we got expert sampling. So there are different types of purposive sampling. Now we are moving on to the maximum variation sample. So from this picture itself, you can see what kind of students are sitting inside the classroom. Yes, there are different types. Like they are different in like their hairstyle is different, their like body language is different, even the facial structures, everything is actually different, right? Yes, it is different. So it actually selects participants with diverse backgrounds and experiences. So why we are just selecting this maximum variation sample? Yes, it actually helps capture wide range of perspective. Of course it does, and it is useful to understand differences and variations in a particular topic. And is it clear? Isn't it? Then next one, which is homogeneous sampling. From the picture itself, you can see everyone, like before it is different kind of students. Now we can see same, like everyone is what, like everyone is same. And then it means selection of participants who share similar characteristics based on what? Based on what? Yeah, the researchers wants uniformity within the sample. For example, selecting only female teachers or like only grade 10 students. Yeah, they are selecting the similar characteristics. Now we are getting on to the next one, which is typical case sampling. What is typical case sampling? As you can see, I just added one single line, which is picking representative ordinary case. What does it mean? Which means selection of normal or average case to represent common situation. And what is it help? It helps understand general trends within a population. For example, choosing a typical government schools to study teaching methods. Mhm, that also works. And next, yeah, it is one of my favorite one, which is snowball sampling. So from the image itself, as you can see that, right? Yes. It starts with a few participants. They actually refer others, and it useful for like hard to reach refugees or survivors. Like the sample grows like a snowball rolling down. What happens when a small like snowball like it just rolling down the mountain, it just becomes bigger and bigger, right? Likewise, our snowball sampling, it also get bigger and bigger. And we are moving on to the next one, which is expert sampling. What does it mean, expert sampling? Mhm. So from the picture, as you can see, that selection of people considered expert in a field, and when it is used, what is actual purpose, and when this particular sampling is used, It used when study needs professional opinion or specialized knowledge. For example, like selecting doctors to study vaccination awareness, we need skilled persons, we need expert. And now we are moving on to the advantages. So there are many advantages for purposive sampling. It actually saves time, efforts, and resources. It also provides rich, detailed data, which is valuable in qualitative research. And it is also very useful when population is limited or specific. So, if there are advantages, there are also some limitations. I'm just mentioning some of the most like the basic limitations of purposive sampling. Actually, the researcher bias may influence sample selection, and the result cannot be generalized to a larger population. That also comes under the limitation of purposive sampling. Then we got the characteristics. So there are many characteristics for purposive sampling, as you can see: small simple size, then it is also cost effective, then focus on quality. So there are many characteristics of purposive sampling as well. And then here I'm just given some examples of purposive sampling. For example, study of like teachers who are innovative teaching techniques. So when we are studying on innovative teaching techniques, we are just selecting only experienced teachers and based on their practical knowledge, and then we are just filtering them, and it shows purposive selection of like relevant participants. And next we got visual media of the entire topic. As we are filtering, like the flowchart actually representing a population, we are selecting what we are starting with a large population, then we are selecting, and then we got a filtering technique, filtering based on specific criteria, and then at last part we got like we just selecting based on suitable participants as the we are selecting them as the final sample. We are not really selecting the entire crowd for the sample, but still we are filtering them, and then we are finding the we are finding the samples. So that's all about the purposive sampling. As we can conclude this particular topic, purposive sampling, as the like what? Yes, purposive sampling ensures that only relevant participants are involved in this study. Not every single person is picked up for this study, but still we are filtering them. We are just finding the the relevant people, the knowledgeable ones, and who are we actually what we need. We are selecting them. And it is ideal when researcher wants depth, understanding, and insight. We are not randomly selecting people, right? Yeah. Then the quality of information is more important than number of participants. We are putting criteria. It is not at all about what the number of participants, number of samples, but it only depends on the relevance. Who we needed. We are targeting on criteria. So, that's all about the topic. And these are the academic resources, books, and everything that I prepared these slides on. These are the references based on that. I just prepared the entire slides. So, hope you understood that. And thank you everyone for listening. And if you got any doubts, you can put that in the comment section. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.